Greetings, fellow travelers, and welcome to The Way of the Showman, where we view the world through the lens of showmanship. I am Captain Frodo, and I will be your host and your guide along the way. I'm very excited today by the fact that I'm finally getting around to sharing with you my first recorded conversation with Nick Difatte. Nick Difatte lives in Las Vegas. He is an extraordinarily funny comedy magician, which we will talk a lot about. So I won't go into so much detail because when I start the conversation, I basically talk for 10 minutes. I'm so excited to have him on the podcast. We recorded this when I was performing in Mad Apple in Las Vegas earlier this year, and it was recorded in the house where I was staying at the time. So I'm very excited about that. And at the moment, I am personally, just before we sort of power on into this conversation, I am finishing my fourth year in the theme park in the south of Norway as part of Circus Jesper, sort of circus and theatrical thing based on a story that I've talked about before. And this year, after having doing my acts here for 3 years, I have been employed as an actor. So I'm just in my final days of my acting career. I've been singing and dancing and doing choreography, and we're doing some illusions and stuff as well. So I'm getting to do a little bit of what I kind of feel like I should be doing. But mainly I've just been acting, and that has been an interesting process. But of course, very nice to get good feedback from not relying on tricks. Us performers, whether we do magic or we do juggling or we do whatever it is we do, we have a tendency to hide ourselves behind the tricks. And it's been an interesting learning process to be just delivering text written by someone else that I've been tuning it and getting more laughs as a result of it. Anyway, that's been very fun. And there's been getting a little bit more traction on the Way of the Showman Instagram. I have been posting reels where I've been talking about words, and I have been talking about all kinds of stuff. So if you are on social media, it would really make me happy to see you follow me on the Way of the Showman Instagram account, and then maybe we could make it something even more exciting, And this last 2 months, I have been working solidly on writing a book. It is a book where I am compiling my ideas on what showmanship is. For the long-time listeners, you will know these ideas from what's on the podcast as Season 2, The One Who Faces the Other Way, etc. And I have completely rewritten this one because although Season 2 has many great and interesting ideas that I still firmly believe in, I believe in all of them, I think, but I have been rephrasing them and framing them in a whole new way that allows you to go further into it. So the book is making some powerful headway. It's up to about 100,000 words at the moment, so I need to do some compression, and I'm up to just finished yesterday, I believe, up to chapter 6, and the main heavy lifting of the concepts of what I am writing about has all now been dealt with. So the last few chapters in the book will have a slightly more poetic flair, because I take the concepts that I have developed in the first part of the book on what showmanship is, and then in the last sort of sections I push it into where it can go and possibilities for how it can grow, how we can grow as performers. So part self-help book, part anecdotes from my own life as how I came to these ideas, and part and deep philosophy of what it means to be a showman, and how to develop yourself as a performer. But as so often happens, we spend some time working on our character in a show, but maybe not enough time working on our character as human beings in the world. So I am talking about all those things and many more in this book, which currently has the working title of Facing the Other Way. Anyway, more about that later. But for now, enough talk. Let's jump into the world of ideas and meet the ever awesome Nick Difatte.
Here we are in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the one and only Nick Difatte.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you here on the podcast. As I say when I talk, I don't actually think I've actually said that before. Oh, it's nice to have you here
with
on
any
the
of the
podcast.
guests. Oh, no. Thank you for having me. Well, I'm excited that you're in town.
Yeah,
so
let's
start with that.
Yeah, because it usually is just that I'm there with someone. But anyway, so we first met. Is it 2 years ago now?
I think so.
So it was just felt like it was hot on the heels of the pandemic.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic convention at the edge of time in Horsens in Denmark. Steen Pegani, who runs the Pegani Magic Store, which is the premier magic store in Scandinavia, I would say.
Yeah.
And my dad even, I think I might have already mentioned that, he sells some of his tricks, very bespoke and only a few made or whatever.
Like the electronic
store.
stuff?
Electronic stuff, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's got this toaster. Amazing. It's basically a card fountain, but you put the pack of cards in for what you need your card fountain in. Sure. Put it in, and then you push the button, and then it goes a bit of time, and then it comes out card fountain style.
I love it.
And you can use it for your card sword or whatever.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Whatever.
Is that a newer has he been selling that exact thing for a while? I think you mentioned he used to sell it at conventions.
Maybe 15 years. I don't know.
That's so
long
great.
time.
Everyone knows the toaster bit.
Because making it for everyone, I don't know. But did I show you that picture of me when I was performing with my dad, the black and white thing from the newspaper?
Yeah.
So that was like in 1990. And before I was finished performing with him, we did that. I held the card sword.
That's
and
great.
he did the selection with a rough smooth. There's no classic palm or
sure. Why would you? We went through that.
Yeah, we went through all of that. So that's and then at some point he then decided he was going to make them, and he made basically like a large bag full, and we brought it to a magic convention, and he sold them all sort of straight away. And
that's so great.
And then after some time, I think that guy Steen actually had seen some of those, and he went, "Are you still making those?" And I sort of got them back out of retirement, and he made another sort of 25 or whatever. So it's all
cool.
They're not in his catalog or anything. I think it's just he just sends out to his working.
Well, for those in the know.
Yeah, and for those people who would want to get something which is not super cheap, but something that almost nobody has. Right. And it gives this interesting sort of gimmick to it. And he was working recently actually mixing in a whole bunch of mini smoke machine kind of stuff so that you could potentially have that stuff going on as well. But
I immediately thought of you put the the Funkin' ring on a fork or whatever.
Yeah. And it's like you're going to get the cards out. Yeah, that would be great. So when I met you there, I was together with Mario as well. So he was on the podcast. And then
the best. And weirdly enough as well, it was Charlie Caper, who I was the only one that I knew before I came there. And I didn't know Mario.
And
which was so funny that we would it took us flying 19 hours to go meet each other in Denmark.
Yeah, that's classic. But I guess it's because he works for family audiences and you work for adults primarily.
And he's busy. No.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah. But you're busy too, doing your own stuff. Sitting in your flat and doing your own stuff.
I dabble.
But so that's interesting. So the fact that you guys are even if you were both working, let's say you're working in totally different sort of circles as well.
Yeah, he's got to be in bed by 7. I don't start till 8.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. But nowadays, though, you guys might meet a little. Have you met him since?
We haven't been able to hang since. No, we haven't been in the same city.
Because I was thinking, because he now, I don't know how big he was on being at the different magic conventions back then.
Sure. But did a handful of them in the States, I think. I feel like I saw him perform a long time ago.
Because now I've seen it also
Fest.
Because anyway,
he's lecturing more. I think he did the Penguin thing.
Yeah.
So he's certainly like doing the magician-centric events. Too. But yeah.
And one of those interesting things with meeting you there, and it was of course because the other thing is that it's in the hometown of Morten. Morten with 2 N's.
Right.
The world champion of comedy magic.
Right.
Yeah, which is intimidating for someone like you, no doubt.
It's so great.
Yeah. So he in Montreal he won the comedy award for
the first time in years. Nobody had gotten the comedy award for because they don't have to give it out.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was like out of nowhere, first one in 10 years. Kind of
so
thing.
That is based on, I only know this, I have a cursory knowledge of it, but it has to do with you need to get a certain amount of points so you can win the competition, but that doesn't mean that you get the world champion title.
Right.
To get that, you need to get above a certain amount of points or get enough judges to give you above a certain thing so that it actually is not just that you were best that year, but you were pushing the art, pushing the technique, pushing the some things that makes you goes, oh, this is actually the world champion. So there had been competitions every FISM, but no one had won it for
years.
Yeah.
And I think historically that's always been a weird category too, because it's like what constitutes a comedy act, and I think a lot of the time they aren't doing strong stuff. So the reason that and we were buddies. I met him at Blackpool years ago, and I always thought, like, this guy's doing strong stuff, and he's funny. And FISM, the big thing is that they judge based on height. So I think that's probably a reason that he excelled. But
and why you haven't been gracing the podium just yet?
Yeah, I've platforms at some point. My change bag in the platform shoes.
You should get that illusion that what's his name last night? Stretching your legs.
The other incredible rubber man.
Yeah.
Or sedate rubber man. But I always thought of him as doing like really powerful stuff, and the fact that he's willing to compete and that he's in that realm of doing magic competitions. Most of the guys who would want to enter their act into a comedy magic thing are probably not doing heavy duty material. Like, not to speak out of turn and say they're all doing clown gags, but they're, it's not, usually they're not going in and hitting magicians over the head with a pipe like Morten did.
Yeah. And I guess, and it's absolutely not speaking out of turn. If this comedy award was won every year, then you would be speaking out of turn. But it's been several rounds of the FISM and nobody actually won it because the judges could not get behind actually calling someone a world champion. So it is and of course that's interesting just to mention anyway. It's like, so what is comedy magic? Because sometimes it is just now here's a silk, now it's gone in my hand, and did you hear the one about the chicken crossing the road? Like that's comedy and magic. So it's like, but like,
I don't know. I mean, everybody's got their own. I'm having a tough time. I'm currently writing. Richard Kaufman is doing a re-release of the, or not a re-release, but he's doing a new edition of Greater Magic.
Oh yeah.
And so, in the book, historically, there was never a comedy magic chapter, and so now there will be one. But then that unfortunate task is put on my shoulders, where it's like.
That's pretty incredible.
What do you define as comedy magic? And they all kind of cross their arms at me, and so I've been talking to people. I've been trying to cultivate material that is not only like, I don't want to just say worthy, but interesting and of note historically, like since the original book came out and since this new edition's coming out, and also trying to find some definition of comedy magic that doesn't. I kind of hit on it in my book. I had an essay on on funny and what I did big finger quotation marks there, but on funny and on, combining comedy and magic versus doing street jokes and doing magic separately versus doing weak magic with strong humor and kind of doing all gags. And then kind of like what Morten and what I strive for at times, but doing really powerful material where the interactions are inherently funny.
Yeah.
Or the tricks are funny. Like if you can find that's a funny thing that I ran into with putting this material in the book and finding those tricks that I wanted to include. Because it's like, I can only really put 10 things in. Okay, so we got 70 years time. What 10 tricks, is this jerk going to pick to put in the book? And it's hard because you go, a lot of the things that guys and gals are doing in a comedy magic show is the material is not inherently funny. So it's like, is that an element of it? If you do a color changing handkerchief thing, but there's no, the plot isn't funny, but you are telling jokes, like you were saying.
Yeah, like or that you get somebody up, and then you're doing a color changing hanky, and then you are, whilst talking to them, where do you work,
right,
and all that. So now you're doing. Everyone's laughing all the time because you're having great funny interactions, but the magic is happening and there is comedy happening. But like, and so that's really interesting. Like, what makes a trick funny, or is it just like the presentation? And you are then are you looking for, because this is not supposed to be a joke book. It's not supposed to be these are great jokes that magicians did.
Right.
So it's supposed
and that
to
you should do. The whole point is not to do like. I run into that problem all the time where you write a book, or not, I don't write books all the time, but you write this essay that you want somebody to read and you want them to understand understand a concept that you're trying to put across. And then in order to do that, you give them material, or you show them material, right? Where you go, okay, when I wanted to say this on stage in this funny way, I used this trick, and here it is. I'll explain it so that you understand it. But it's like, throughout the whole book, I'm kind of going like, if you want to, I recommend you just do your own thing, or even omitting details. Like, there's a trick that ended up in my book where I didn't want to give them everything, so I gave them the method and I gave them why I used it. And I gave them kind of a context thing, but it's, I think I would be doing them a disservice if I just information dump everything in front of you as a finished product and I say, this is how you should do it. Because that would have certainly, that would have killed a lot of my thinking, I think, when I was like a teenager. The people that were around me they weren't giving me beginning to end things and saying, this is what you do in order to figure out your show. Here's a trick, beginning to end. It was like, no, let's take a step back and like, what do you really want to do? What do you want to say? What do you, not like 17-year-old's comedy magic show is saying anything deep, but it's like, who the fuck are you? What do you want to put across?
There's got to be some sort of truth anyway.
Right.
Like, you're not going to say something big, but if you are at that age and you find you really like hot dogs and not burgers, and you want to do comedy sponge dogs from the pocket,
write that down,
or whatever. We're recording, so I'll give you this recording for later.
I could use Jay's AI thing to
Jay can use the AI thing
find every reference to hot dog in every episode way the show,
because it is just that reference, like you want to be you want to be
it's I'm glad that I had those people around me, Jeff Williams and Tyler Erickson and these guys who were like doing doing original material. Everyone around me was doing pretty, you have the guys in the Magic Club that are like killer general practitioners.
Yeah.
Like, they can do magic show, rote, kill it, do mismade flag and do die box and do these things that you've seen before, but they, they have a place in magic, and that is a very specific thing. But the people that I was around for the majority were guys that were heavy into. Luckily, I feel like I was just in an area where people were funny, and they were doing original stuff and using original things and doing stuff that, I wasn't through these people helping me cultivate it. I wasn't doing stuff that. I wasn't wearing a tuxedo and doing doves. Like, I go, okay, I look like a dweeb. How do we how do we kind of put little bits of myself into it? And even in those earliest tricks, it was a lot of, and they weren't good, but it was a lot of self-referential jokes and a lot of like, why does this prop fit me? maybe even over explaining it at times, but then I think that's how I discovered ways to do it now where, like we were literally just talking about 2 hours ago, where it's like, I don't have to over explain something, or I don't have to go, I'm so weird, like the Zemeckis thing where I'm finding props. A good example, just so I'm not totally rambling out of my ass, but I was doing morning news shows for things, and to me that was like the dreaded slot. I just thought these are so monotonous and horrible, and these poor hosts on these shows, like they say the same, and we're here with 12 Hills Dog Rescue, and what do you do? Oh, we rescue dogs. Oh, that's great. What are your hours? Like it's just that they know the 10 questions and that's it. And so I wanted to roll into these places, and I had seen guys like Mark Prooch on these alternative comedians on morning news shows and different things, just going on there and fucking around with people. Like he did it. He had this great thing that I saw when I was right when it came out, and I followed it. But he was doing a fake yo-yo demonstrator. Have you ever seen this?
No.
He was touring around doing morning news shows as a fake yo-yo demonstrator that was teaching about saving the earth through the art of the yo-yo. And he was this like disgruntled, newly divorced guy. He's talking about I ran into a door in my life, and this was the doorknob. And he's holding up the yo-yo and going into these dark rants about, and here's how you get into school. Well, first they give you a name tag, and then you meet the principal, and then they're like, no, like what do you say in the show? Do you want to show us some tricks? And he did like 14 of these spots, and he never once did a yo-yo trick in any of them. so it was I had seen a lot of comedians growing up that I was into these kind of Price Master and all these things where it was just guys kind of doing pretty absurdist things, and the Leftover Chef, the guys from Found Footage Festival, and all these like things where you kind of somehow get TV time doing interesting things. And so I wanted to approach me. If I go, I'm at the Chuckle Hut at 7 and 9, and they go, isn't that great? It's right on the corner of Decatur and Sunset, and right by the Taco Bell, and tickets we do 2 for 1, and it's all that same the stuff that everybody hears 1,000 times. I wanted to go in there and like kind of make a happening, if I could, in a loosely appropriate way that would break up the cadence of that host's normal comfort zone. And so it was finding things where, like, I feel like if someone's flipping through TV, you're in a small town and you're doing a comedy club, and they open up the thing and there's a kid standing there with like cards or jumbo cards, they just immediately go on they tune out. I think I would like
flip further on, and
if you see me holding a magic prop, you kind of go, oh shit. But or you question
it. Kind of awkward. Let's see if we can find a commercial.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we don't need to go there. Yeah. We don't need to pay money to see him at night.
Because we just proved why we wouldn't. No.
So finding props that were immediately like, they tell the whole story immediately. So if you click to that channel and I'm holding 2 inhalers and the woman is trying to discuss when the show starts, but I'm asking when the segment starts and I want to get in to do it. She's asking about, when do we do the trick with the big deck of cards? And I'm already onto this other thing that she doesn't know that we're going to do. It was just like experimenting and breaking that up. But the big example was inhalers. Like I found this trick with it used to be the multiplying foam bananas. Which a lot of guys do. I don't know, maybe the idea of like production of the amount of potassium that you really need or whatever. But it never made perfect sense. But I always loved that move, and I wanted to do some version of this massive production. And so the inhaler thing, I started doing that on those shows, and it just like, you don't tell the host you're going to do it. When they start counting down for the segment, I'm standing now off my mark behind them as far back as I can go without them all stopping me. And I'm like shaking the inhaler up and getting ready to use it. And then when they start talking to me, it starts multiplying. So there's magic happening within it in chaos.
Whilst you're talking, yeah. And
So-
it's like, so they want to do an interview and you want to do it, but you have done the perfect kind of clown skit that you go, the clown wants to sit on the chair,
Right.
but what gets in the way
Right.
of this? And all that stuff that gets in the way then creates the journey, and you are like standing there and they go, oh, it's now, and you're not where you're supposed to, and they're
Right.
talking backwards into the studio, and you're getting ready and you can't do your asthma inhaling because they are talking to you. So it's like,
And hopefully not doing it in a way that...
and it's multiplying, just in case people didn't
Sure,
understand.
yeah, sorry,
So
you're producing
doing
a
one,
bunch of them.
and you sort of put it away or whatever, and then comes another one, you got two in your hands, and you keep putting them away, and it's just like more and more inhalers coming out.
You could
So
do it
it's
endlessly throughout the thing.
like
which I've
people
done.
might have seen people do like cards. It's like, here's a
Yeah.
card, and you put it away, and you put it away. Here's a whole fan,
Yeah.
and here's so it's that sort of thing. You're trying to do an interview, and the inhalers, you can't put it away, and it keeps being more of them.
But and so I guess that, just to circle back, like it was a prop that when you see the silhouette of me and you see what I look like, me holding that prop doesn't look out of place, or doesn't. So that, it was kind of just all how the people that I was around, and them pushing me to, like, why would, if somebody takes a picture of me performing and I'm holding cards, now it looks like every other, not to be like,
No.
I heard there was a theory that I always kind of disliked, which was that I heard this lecture when I was a kid, and a lot of guys reference it, I think, in magic and in no other variety art form. but like, if you become the meatball magician, all these guys, they do card magic, but if you become the meatball magician, then you're the only meatball magician. And I was like, who the fuck wants to be the meatball magician? Unless you're like this big, if you're a cartoon chef and you were born like that, and that's your genuine true, I don't know. It was just like, to me, that felt like we were going further away from the mark. Like, I just need to find a thing. Well, I'm going to be the plastic potted cactus guy, and that's all, you just got to find something that no one else gives a shit about.
The thing that hasn't been taken yet. Yeah.
Right. What parking space is open in magic? And so, but, being able to hopefully find things that fit in that world and kind of curate it to some degree, instead of just doing, like, I love card magic.
Yeah.
I get a kick out of it. I'm not dogging on any element of it. It's just like, it genuinely doesn't fit into what I've curated up to this point.
Yeah, so that's the like, of course, it would never bagging on anything, because whatever it is that I ever give of advice, say, well, you shouldn't really do this, then either me or someone else will go, well, there is this girl or this guy,
Of course.
and they make a living from doing exactly those three things that you say
Of
that you
course.
shouldn't do. So you can never actually say anything, but you got to say something from your own point of view. So that's like with you, but so trying to, because I'm always interested in this, and like, how do you get an authentic expression, or something I talked a lot to Mario about, like, because he's got such a unique kind of corner of like pop punk rock kind of thing, and the good messaging or whatever, and all this, like, in talking about art and all these things. So you have a character, like, how do you just, because when you walked out onto the stage here now at Mad Apple, because that's also, I'm working with Mad Apple at in Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas, and you did the slots before me, and I just also heard that you are doing one more slot this year in a few months. Going back.
Exciting.
So that's good. Dude, they must have liked you then, since they booked you again. So that's nice.
We're like, just to go, to circle back, I'm free.
You were available. Yeah. When they needed someone in that time, you were available. Yeah.
Mario was totally full up.
Yeah. But it's also, this is not quite Mario's crowd, is it? It's like these guys want. It's like. They want dick jokes and crazy stuff, and you are a weird guy. No,
sure,
but
because
you come out onto
wacky,
the stage and you seem weirdly sort of straight and awkward. You got a kind of, I don't know what that is, like a sports coat, or what is that kind of coat that you have?
Yeah,
it's
and also there's a weird thing about that. I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but in the last few years, I've found that the ones on stage. And it kind of, I think I solidified it in my thinking about it at Cirque in the last few months. But like, creating that silhouette immediately with that, especially with those weird doors, like the way that we are entering.
There's a big sliding door, automatic sliding door is actually like a subway going, which you told me.
Which you had no idea.
Yeah. And
which
then
is
that
nuts.
door opens up
Yeah.
and you come out and it's just like backlit and it's real.
Yeah.
It's real big.
So the highest
entrance.
energy part of the show happens right before you come out. And then the two doors open up and they just kind of go like, here's this backlit child that is lost on the subway kind of looking thing.
Yeah, because you look like a nerd or like a dork of some sort and like deliberately an hour and you're...
I make jokes about the reference looking like the producer's stepson and how it immediately feels like a timeshare presentation when I walk out here and all those things, right?
Yeah.
And dressed like I'm running for student body president, blah blah blah. But with the suit coat, I found in the last few years, because I was just buying like general shit that I thought I could wear and that I like, because I have a uniform in my normal life because I'm just that kind of wiener where my brain works better if I don't have to think about it. Like you saw me pack my bag today and it's like 8 of the same striped shirt. And then
you might notice I wear only black. And this shirt here has a little bit of a little
pizzazz.
But this is the only one left. I only have 3 shirts with me. So.
But it's to tie that up, the coat. For years it was like, oh, well, some of them have shoulder pads and some of them don't, and some of them this and some of them that. And then I figured out, to me, to make that silhouette the most solidified in that character, if we want to really call it that, like to make it look the most me in that spot, the sleeves are like a 1/2 inch too long. So I kind of have these weirdly long, like kid arm, the weird, dangly arms. And there's no shoulder pads in any of the coats that I wear now, because I think it in that silhouette, it would make me almost look more structured. And I want it to look more, not underdogish, but underdogish.
Sort of dweebish or whatever. Like your shoulders are low. You don't want the power suit with the big shoulders and a narrow...
Klaus Nomi kind of like, triangle.
Well, it's like Rudy Kobe has that look.
Yeah, big time.
Because he looks like a cartoon character and he has that huge, exaggerated that, and you are like more the human sort of shape, and you look like some sort of... like you don't
very
look
out of place.
Non-threatening and out of place.
I think out of place has always been part of it. Like I when I started doing more shows at universities, I always felt like an idiot, especially like my first couple of years in it, because I was rolling up onto campus, setting up my show, and then I was in a like they're wearing maybe a t-shirt, baggy sweatpants, and I'm in a fucking suit. And I'm trying to talk to the kids that showed up and somehow connect with them. And it felt super out of place. And then I realized, like, oh, there's a weird power in this, in committing to that and going to that direction. Because there's this kind of classic trope that I think a lot of us joke about with magicians who are doing colleges, or acts in general that are doing, comedians, anything that are doing colleges, where they the 50-year-old guy who's in a tight leather jacket and like, hello, fellow teenagers. Did we all take our scooters here today? Like trying to connect with them on that level. Yeah. And so I think them seeing me, for years I was their age, or I was even like technically younger than some of them. And now I appear to be maybe their age, maybe the age of their brother. But like, man, do I get a lot of... I think I get a lot of power in looking way fucking out of place and maybe not looking, I don't look sharp. I don't look like, I think I dress well, but I don't think the point of it is it's never to look cool. I'm not wearing a James Bond, I'm not wearing a structured tuxedo and a bow tie and looking cool. So the whole... I think I get power out of that because they really start to go, what the fuck is going on here? And maybe you get more focus because of that. Maybe not.
Yeah, but I think you do. It's because it's without comparison. It's also, people think that when I come out, but I'm also more sort of extreme in my look with the short pants and the high socks and everything. But it's still that thing that before you've actually fully started to... before I get to the mic at the front of the stage now, they have already gone, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
and it could go any way, and with you as well, like they don't know where it's gonna go.
No. Well, and you get it in the opposite direction too. Like when I saw you do the family show in Denmark, where you're in the middle of a public place with epaulets on, and you're really posturing and going around very not overly dressed, but whatever the term would be.
But I am, with it's medallions on and with a hat with a feather in it, and it's like all like over the top, but kind of punk enough to look like it's sort of me. It's not. Don't look like a classic magician, but I immediately still can tell that that's what's going on here.
And they know that you did it on purpose too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is knowing. Like, I don't think the funny thing is, and I was talking to a wardrobe person about this. I don't think that people think my look is unintentional. I feel like they go, oh, this is thought through in a weird way. Not that all of this shit is based around my fucking outfit, but like,
No, but that's why. So that's why it's good to call it a character. I think. Because it is you. Sure. I recognize you completely in who you are on stage. Therefore, it feels authentic.
Right.
But you're also aware that we've spoken a lot about that these last couple of days. That you can't just do anything. That this character needs to do certain things. It doesn't do the foam replicating bananas.
Right.
I mean, but the inhalers that. Just fits perfectly into just the kind of thing that this would go, it's getting a bit much. I did this trick. Everyone's laughing at me. I'm just have to do this. I'm putting it away. And now we're in some sort of situation or whatever.
Right. And I think, and then a lot of like the real material, the core stuff that, has kind of built up that I do all the time. That is my living, is the stuff that's like conflict resolution with that character in this setting. Like it's, it's all kind of,
and with your use of audience volunteers, like we just watched it again on a video when we were going to look at you were going to show me that I'm actually coming out of a subway train, and you showed me the thing again because you have a bit there in that show that because we'd already been chatting in Denmark when we met up in the sort of green room or whatever that was, and then I saw you and Morten perform at night. And you did your bit, and I'm with where you give the guy from the audience a whistle to blow on.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I'm a sad and lonely guy, or maybe it is that I've just seen a lot of stuff, but I don't often laugh out loud. You and me saw 2 shows last night. And oh no, I did laugh there. I did actually laugh.
You broke in the first one,
yeah. But that was completely unintended because this guy was delivering his emotional speech.
One of the most heartfelt, poorly done heartfelt speeches I've ever seen.
The wife was dead. He was talking about God, and it was all of that. But this bit is heavily scripted. Sure. How did we know? Because at the side of the stage, and you hadn't told me, but what's his name yesterday? He had...
Alec, my buddy Alex was aware.
He knew about this. And at the side of the stage... on a large flip-over board was the script for the emotional bit. Handwritten with marker on the paper for the emotional bit. I couldn't quite see it, but it was pretty much like... And at this point, and when he then said, I believe it was Helen Keller who said, and I was like, oh, now we're talking about Helen Keller, and I was like, oh, there's some funny material here with like the fact that she's deaf and blind and dumb, and then going, so I was lost for that next bit, but then going in and then watching this man who's been open for 2 months, still don't know his emotional pitch. And he's reading it off a thing on the side. At this point, then I just totally lost it. Yeah. So, but anyway, my point was...
It was a perfect storm.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm. But that was, I think, unintentional. Because this guy was completely unironic. Yeah. So but be that as it may, it's not often that I actually lose it so that I have tears in my eyes.
Right.
And I didn't laugh as hard yesterday as I did when I saw you do this bit where you tried to get the guy to blow a whistle.
Sure.
And seeing this guy, and I lost it so hard that I laughed well until you were finished with your fucking Velcro suit or whatever it was that came afterwards there. So much that I had to get undressed. I had to take my jacket off and just sitting in my t-shirt and going, because I was just sweating and laughing and crying. And it was great. So
thank you.
And this is, of course, what comes out there. I don't want to give away everything. If you,
I'm happy to. I don't. I mean, there's
because it's basically it's getting this guy to blow on it, and he looks so weird, and you get so much funny stuff out of the way that this guy, and I was going, what is going on? Is it COVID? Is he afraid of the corona? Like, is it what's going on with this guy? Like, it's just blow the whistle so we can get on with this act and whatever.
Yeah.
And then after much back and forth, and your rapport with the person that you have up, because I saw it again yesterday.
Yeah.
We were looking at the video. It's just a reference video, not particularly well filmed. It's not something cut together. It's just a one-shot thing of there. And the man who is sitting up on the stage is, before he starts to need to blow the whistle, but he's already laughing so that he is crying, and he has to bring out a handkerchief, and you make fun of that because it was a monogrammed handkerchief. And and I see him do it, and I go, I laughed like that when I was watching it last time from that engineering. So I'm going like, it's so powerful, and it's hard to explain when you're doing this sort of stuff on here. But but your way of interacting with that, and this dorky kind of guy's way of dealing with the person who can't blow this whistle, and then when it in the end, and you go, oh sorry, my bad, that's the lid for the
that's a marker cap.
That's a marker cap, and it's just the top of the thing, and you just take it away, and then you continue with the trick. And the fact that like it is, and it's also
just to give like a tiny bit of, not context, but to frame it a little bit, I think a lot of it is the dynamic of the age and type of people that I deal with at different parts in the show, which was a big thing, you know, when I was growing up, that I saw how Mac and Mac King and Tom Mullica and these guys and Stephen Bargatze would use specific, you know, archetypes of audience member that their style of character could deal with. And so I was lucky, I think, that when I was young.
That's so interesting. Yeah, expand on that a little bit.
So
just on this one here, so that act, like, what person do you choose for this? Because in the video that we saw here, it's always an older man, and how long might have been? He's older than me, like 60 or something, or
maybe
50.
I want him to
50s,
look
60.
older than that, even. But it's all like the first chunk of my show, I use a woman for the most part, and so it's younger. You know, maybe she's in her 30s or 40s. I'm not as, you know, I'm not going to say aggressive, but I'm not asking her to go as far as the guy with what I'm expecting, if that makes sense. I'm not asking her to blow into a whistle. I ask her for some information, and we have some nice rapport and kind of building trust and building the world that we're whatever, you know, all the same shit where we're setting up what is going on. And then once I've got that, through fluke or whatever, I realized that the type of person that somebody who looks like me, who looks muggable, like the kind of person that I bring up, could be an older guy. And now if they trust me and I'm able to treat him like I had a big, this is an interesting tiny aside, but it's what made it click. Somebody said, you're way funnier off stage than you are on stage. This was when I was like maybe 17 or 16. They go, you're way funnier off stage because you're pokier with your friends and you're way more comfortable around your friends. And so I was first off, and as we've discussed, I'm an anxious guy. And so when somebody says that to me, I go, go fuck. Like, I'm just doing this worthless stuff. Go, you know, great. Now you've gone and ruined it. And so it was, how do I make friends? How do I build a relationship with the audience within that 15-minute slot? Like, we'll use the Mad Apple, the slot that you saw, as an example, but how do I build a rapport within that set so that I can take it as far as, maybe not as far as I would with someone I've known for 20 years, but I can...
To make them comfortable enough to let you do it, and make you comfortable enough that you feel like it's appropriate to push it that far or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's a mutual thing for sure.
Yeah.
It's a super, like, I mean, it really is... and that kind of the marker cap thing, and like the thing I showed you last night with the counterfeit bill.
Yeah.
Those gags are the things that I do to fuck with friends. Like I have a thing about that's in my lecture just now as a demonstration, but I used to do it casually where I would explain the new sports mode on the iPhone. And it was just a thing I came up with to fuck with friends, and I did change the settings on their phone, and I have this whole thing about getting a picture of a ball at the apex of its bounce or whatever, and all this just stuff. And it was things that I like doing to people that I've known for forever. I mean, you came over and you saw the spanking thing and all the whatever. Like it's all, that's how I function.
Roll.
So it's an easier for me. That's an easier, and it's not a fake dynamic too, right? Yeah. So once I build that trust with the guy or with the woman up front, like not to just say I could only do it with this type of person or this type of thing.
No, but you have your ideal or your archetype, or what did you call it before? It's like
archetype,
you have like this particular type of person. If you get that, it works well. So you're looking for someone to fit that bill. Sometimes, of course, when you pick them, they're going to turn out to be quite different than they looked, or you misread the situation, and then you play with it.
Yeah.
But there is, of course, remember a friend.
Or they're just a dick,
exactly.
Yeah.
Who did the same kind of thing. He did Kaput, Tom Flanagan does, and in his act, he's going to show a movie and everything falls apart, and then he needs to fix it. And when everything is just completely unfixable on the screen, and everything that was on stage when he came in has broken and fallen apart, he sort of pushes it back up, makes a thing, and then gets a woman out of the audience and plays out the love story, which is on the poster that there was the movie that they supposedly were supposed to see. Get it?
Gotcha.
In the beginning, he was using a younger woman.
Sure.
And then at some point used an older lady, and then never went back.
Yep.
Because that older lady, because he's a good-looking, funny guy and all that, so they play along with this. But if it's a teenage woman or like somebody who is like 20 years old, they're so self-confident and they don't want to go. But the older lady who's flirting with a young clown character can go so far, and so much willingness to play and whatever. And once you did that, and then I'm sure he's since then just kept honing it in as to what type of person. You get that up there, and it's the end of the Middle Ages woman who comes up and is just having the greatest time having together with this guy. Then that is just such a beautiful thing to see, and so it's the same, like finding that archetype of where you go, and that takes experience as well.
For sure.
Doing it within my
act. Mess it up a lot, I think. For a long time. Because I would use people for years. I was like, well. And this is again years, but I'm 17 or whatever, or 16, and you go, okay, well, you get someone your age, or you get someone that I would have a social interaction with. Like I don't hang out with 50-year-old people or whatever. I'm a kid, and But then you realize that that's so wrong, and that that dynamic doesn't. Also, like I honestly, I think the biggest part of it that I think about now, especially like if I'm doing stuff at universities, that's an interesting climate right now.
Oh yeah.
Where people are maybe not, I'm not going to say overly sensitive, but they're like, it's a totally different vibe even than when I started on them.
Yeah.
And it's
whether it is sensitive, maybe it's also like the reaction to being offended, or the reaction to being triggered by something is sort of different. That might feel like it's now. The result might be that the show sort of gets stopped in its tracks. Right. That it gets called out, and it gets sort of... So you have to just be more aware of all those things,
And so I consider those... a big thing that I think about is I don't... So, tiny bit of context. I considered... I went through my show, and I was taking out all of what... We were talking about this a little bit last night, but boom mic moments where I don't say... comedy, and I don't say show, like, oh, tonight's show. I don't want to talk
boom
about...
mic, you mean the film is being made and the mic drops into the thing, and all of a sudden we are no longer in a grocery store, we're in a film set, and this is a movie being made. So it's, you don't talk about jokes, you don't talk about, I am now going to do comedy. Right. Yeah, let it emerge out of the
Here's
scene.
my set. I've never understood, like...
now I'm going to do a joke.
Yeah, here's one. And then they go into, like... I just never understood that. And I've been trying to put that into words recently with the help of a few people. But so I took all those moments out. And then I realized that for me, I was feeling other things that I would consider in the same vein. I guess I wouldn't call them boom mic moments, but they're like things where if I bring someone up on stage and the audience even thinks about an element of our dynamic and it makes them uncomfortable, or they're not fully, like if they have to even think about, oh, well, he brought up the gorgeous 29-year-old and I don't know if she's having a good time yet. You know, like if there's any discomfort in that interaction, I just don't want to even have it.
Yeah.
Which maybe is, maybe I'm overthinking it at that point, but
it's everywhere. We saw it last night.
Yeah,
an
absolutely.
older gentleman who picked a teenage woman and then held her by the hand to get to the side of the stage and up, and it was a long moment.
Yeah.
And he kept holding her by the hand, and I went, "This is uncomfortable."
Yep.
As it was when he got to the stage, and that he let go of her, and nothing
shifted.
Nothing. Yeah, it's like, it's
still weird.
And it was weird, but it was not like weird in any kind of sexual or any sort of. It was not inappropriate, but just that holding of the hand changed the whole flavor of.
By a mile.
Of that. If he hadn't held her hand. It's little things like that where you go, maybe that was cool when 15, 25 years ago when he was young.
Maybe in the Roman times. Holding a child's hand for an hour was a good... Yeah. I don't know. It was... but even the fact that you had to have that thought, and also an interesting thing from last night, and so because it totally plays into this, is that first interaction with in my show, It's a Woman, or in this set, like we'll just use that 15 minutes that you saw a day ago as the example, but using that time with the woman to build a rapport with the audience and build trust and show what the vibe is and get some jokes out and also do a cool thing, hopefully. The way that was handled last night by the person that we're referencing that held a kid's hand, he said, "We're not going to do XYZ." And then he walked her by the hand up onto the stage, and then he did exactly that. Like not in like in a referencey way.
No. He said, "I am not going to take you onto the stage and saw you in half."
And then he brought her up on stage, and he showed that the sign says "sawing a woman in half." The second that he had locked the kid in a box, he pulls the sign off. It's a sign. So it's like, okay, we don't trust this guy at all.
Because we know he's a magician and that he does what he says he does one thing but does something else, which is how we found a card or whatever.
Sure.
But he's also just deliberately, and that I think that was his joke, and that was the joke.
Of course.
And it was lights around the sign, and it was all that. So he had this was his joke.
Yeah.
But this might be a bit that either was written in ignorance or written 25 years ago.
Yeah. I won't comment on which one I think it is.
No.
But I think it
could be a combination of both.
I think it's a big, that like immediate distrust, or even like you having the thought of, wow, it's weird to, and maybe he only held her hand for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's still the fact that that ran through your head is something that I want to avoid.
And it was and that said, I mean, you don't, it's like when you say, oh, then I pick like a woman who's like sort of in her late 20s or early 30s, that means that you've picked the girl which looks older than you. How old are you again?
28.
28, yeah.
Yeah.
But you on stage, it's like you say, it's like we're not sure if this guy's 14 or 40.
Well, and I do want even if I get up someone who's like, who would be, I don't know how to describe it, who would be cast as a grandmother in a show, if I get up an older person, I want to be able to go, hey, as if I'm off mic, I want to be able to lean over and go, hey, thanks for not kicking my ass. Like all these bits where they still feel like they're, like we're equal players in this thing. Yeah. Or she might even be...
on top, like totally she feels dominant. Like if she goes, can you stop being so silly? I'm leaving the stage. That this is an option, and in your show, they do sort of, I mean, less so by the time that you get to the guy who can't function to do the stuff, because then you are genuinely going like, just get your shit together, just blow the whistle, or like so we can get on with the magic trick.
The confetti thing, the picking up the confetti for the spoons is the big example. Stage cueing him to mess things up and then having these conflict resolution moments.
Yeah, exactly. Like you set it up so that you have to throw the confetti at this point, and then you make it seem like this point comes, and he throws the confetti, and then it's like...
He sets off all these other things. So it's not even just me. He's not just upsetting, which I think was an important thing in the structuring of that, was it's like, he's not just doing something that directly pisses me off. It's he does something which sets off now the sound guy hits the cue and the 2 confetti cannons go off, and he set off this stack of dominoes.
He starts a cascade of finale things when it wasn't supposed to, and then you're left in this perfect vulnerable collapse of a situation where the trick has failed and everything is set up and it's like not ready yet.
He doesn't look dumb.
No.
Which is the interesting part.
Yeah.
So he fucks up a task and I look like an idiot, which is kind of
because it's
helpful.
your fault. Yeah, exactly. So it's
But there's I don't know. There's a million things to that stupid trick too. But to me the trust thing is huge, and so that was a weird thing to have a killer example of it last night, where it's like, I'm not gonna do this to you, child, and then doing it. It's like, I think, and a thing that was in this is funny. I've never really talked about this, but there's an old notebook where I was trying to. It's very hard for me to describe the character, quote unquote. Like, it just, I haven't been able to...
Persona, or like...
Sure.
The way that you are when you are on stage.
Yeah.
The version of yourself that's the stage person.
We've had a bunch of different... Derek Hughes has helped me a lot, and Mick Napier was really helpful. We did this workshop thing in Texas where we all kind of were able to look inward at each other, and it was all people that we knew, and we all knew each other's acts really well, and so we were able to be brutally honest for a week. It was really powerful. But being able to kind of go like, okay, person out of time, or this or that, and I was going through an old notebook recently, and the dynamic the way that I had worded it before for the woman in the show was that I'm like corruptible cougar bait. Like she, it's like like she always seems technically in charge, but I'm still kind of not flirty, but like, oh no, did I screw this thing up? And she knows she could kick my ass. I'm kind of being,
But that's it though. It's like, because... There is nothing wrong inherently with being flirty and being all those things.
Totally.
As long as the dynamic is, and that's what you do so well. It's like that woman is thrilled with the situation that she is in, and that's the difference. It's like, my pet peeve is just like, it's just so awful. People don't want to come on stage because they think they're going to be made to look like an idiot. Yeah. And the result of most of it is that you go on stage and then you do make, give me your hand, oh no, the clean one. They're always somehow making these hack jokes,
even just a moment.
Yeah.
They let you down for a moment and you go, oh shit, I thought you were kind of holding my arm here. And you made me look, you made me feel not supported once. Yeah.
But the way that you managed to dig at them or to play with them and allow them to go, that's something that we've talked about, but you can't teach that and go, oh, you just do this. You have to just have the 100 moments. It's not just...
Yeah, I think you have to mess it up a lot too.
Yeah.
Like it
well, like you have to have 100 shows and you start to know, and like, how long did it take you to know which kind of old man you were going to get for that act, or which kind of person you were going to get for the ring on the ring trick. Yeah.
Well, I think for me, that I went through a couple different phases with that, where I go, okay, I want the guy. Most of the time I would say, I don't want to pick the guy. Just to backtrack a tiny bit, because this popped into my head when we were saying all of the flirtiness not being out of place when done correctly or when accepted or whatever. The thing that I hate the most, and it's a compliment that I get from magicians, but not from comedians and not from other like acts, but they go, oh, I can't believe you. I love that you can get away with all of that. And to me, it's like saying that I get away with it is like the most offensive thing. It's like, that feels like I'm doing something bad and skating by, as if all of this shit that you and I do is inactive, like as if we weren't as if this wasn't a calculated interaction. The idea of just skating by and he did a bad thing, but he got away with it. That has always bugged me. So,
but okay, now I know I asked one, how do you end up choosing that man?
Yeah.
But let's visit the story apropos doing offensive things to the people that you get up from the audience, and your story of the amazing Jonathan and your dad, which comes from your book, because you published a book two years ago, and it's called Offbeat, and it's a brilliant book and beautifully printed and published by Squash Publishing, and it's amazing. And anyway, we don't have to push it too hard because it's sold out.
It's actually sold out, yeah. So
it's sold out.
I don't know if you're hearing this in a couple of years, maybe we're pushing it hard.
Yeah, so if you do want to have the book, just send an email to Nick and send an email to the publisher and just go, we want this book back in print, because it just sold out just like last month or something.
Whenever I was in Tennessee, we got the alert. Yeah, so 6 days ago.
Yeah, so that's kind of great. Finally get you on the podcast to sell your book, and it's too late. You sold all of them. But anyway, in there's this great story that I have since referenced several times of that.
Sure.
Because I don't know if most of the people who listen to podcasts knows who the amazing Jonathan was, what he did, or what his flavor was, and then the story of your dad and how.
Jonathan was a huge U.S. comedy magic act, like really surpassed the kind of bubble that I think we think of as possible for like what you would gain as far as fame and recognition, especially in the comedy world for being a magic act.
Yeah.
And you really, to me, it was like one of the weirdest. It was barely, he really didn't do a lot of magic. There were maybe like 2 tricks, if you really want to call them that. I think I asked him about that once, and it was kind of like, sure, the card in orange part is a trick. Sure. I think the magic wasn't taken super seriously, even though he was he was passionate about magic. But it was a very off the wall, offensive, harsh, abrasive, I probably said fast 3 times already, but like,
and as hard, fast, and rude, and almost like some of the things, like what is it that he drinks? It's like he drinks. There's almost like a freak show kind of angle to a bunch of the stuff. And like drug references and a whole bunch of like everything that's wrong.
Drug references and drugs.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw him do a bit where it was like implying to do cocaine on stage, and it was like, oh, I think he just did a line off his table.
Yeah, but he also has that, like he sucks up
the cartoon version. Yeah,
the cartoon version where he just sucks up a whole bowl
jar
of like a jar of it. Yeah. So it's like and.
He was the best.
It's being rough,
or
whatever. And then as a teenager or something, you went to see him.
Yeah, so I was a fan. His specials got a lot of circulation. I think they were also really big. There was something about Comedy Central aired him over and over and over again in Australia and a few other places. There were like pockets of places that he was big in touring. But I had seen the specials a bunch as a kid and thought he was just, the bee's knees, and thought he was incredibly funny, and I wanted to see him, and he's in Vegas, and I was on vacation with my parents, and my dad was like, let's go. And we go, and the guy's like, ooh, 21 plus. I was 13. And so I was like, oh, but we came, and my dad was like, he does magic, and he's a big fan. And the door guy's like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. And he kind of let us in, and we sit like second row in this theater that at night was a gay bar, like next to behind Planet Hollywood on Harmon, and he did the show, and it was fucking incredible because it was one of the like tighter prop comedy hours that I had seen. Like it was nonstop, bam, 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 bit after bit after bit, and then he gets into the kind of I guess like the thing that a handful of us have in comedy magic shows, where it's like the part at the end where you get the guy up, right? And you kind of do rougher stuff. But so I guess that's just a thing now. But yeah, he picks my dad, and my dad went up there, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't think my dad had seen the specials, but I certainly knew what was coming, and I knew that it was, like, pretty hardcore. And
yeah. It's maybe not quite humiliating, but the
it's
person who comes up is the butt of the jokes kind of thing. It's not
totally
self-deprecating performer with apologizing for the... It's you're the butt of the joke, and he tears you a new one.
Yeah. Do you ever see him do the balloon thing? That was part of that set, but he would have the guy, like... He goes, here, blow this up. He gives him a balloon. He goes, big as your head. Like, no, big, big, big. You know, come on. Dude, like, you ever seen your fucking head before? Come on. Like, and, like, you know, bits like that, where it was just these things that led to other gags, and they're both drinking Drano and bleach and spilling foam all over their shirts, and he would cut open the orange and go, spread your feet, or watch your feet, and then he'd throw the knife into the stage between their feet, legitimately. And there's a great story that he used to tell about a guy in cowboy boots that... Great story. Look up him on different interviews. But yeah, so he does this whole thing, and I just go, oh my God, my dad, you know, who's a prosecutor, like it's probably not having a lot of fun. And at the end, I was talking to him about it, and it was like, I go, oh my God, how was that? You know, but it was a great show. We killed and got a lot of laughs.
Loving it, and people are rolling in the aisles, and it's
absolutely
just all like laughing at your dad and
just crushed. Like I had seen him on the specials, like, you know,
doing good, but this was
crushed
killer.
it.
Yeah.
So I go and I asking him on the way home. I'm like, what was that like? And he's like, oh, it was good, because, you know, I felt like. It wasn't like he literally gave him the wink and the nod, like, you're in on this, but he could tell that it wasn't antagonistic. It wasn't, fuck this guy from the audience, let's all make him look like a clown. Like, it was, you're on my team and we're doing this together. Yeah. But there's no, like, at the end of the show, I think he gives him a t-shirt. It's not like he, like, thrusts their arms in the air and that's Rich, everybody, and he's the hero of the show, and we do something that makes him look great at the end. It's like he shits all over him for 30 minutes, and then they kind of just like, hey, that's enough shitting on him, here's a t-shirt, that's Rich, everybody. So it was, you know, it's like, and so it was me then trying to break that down and asking him a little bit, but it, you know, I think it's hard to put into words unless you've kind of done it.
Yeah.
But making those people feel like they're on your team without saying, hey, wink, nod, pull off the, you know, pull off the Cirque makeup, and hey, you're in on this.
Because somehow that's the interesting thing, and I don't know exactly what he was or what he did, because a lot of that just comes through your attitude and the way that you look at someone. And the truth of the matter is that when your dad stepped on the stage, and the two of them then worked as a double act, and your dad let him be the butt of the jokes. The audience, they could, like, because it's so outrageous and so, but by giving the person who comes up the feeling that if you just play along now, then we will crush it. And but he knows that if he comes up and gives the nudge and the wink and takes him aside and says, just play along, if he actually says it, then it's broken. It's broken.
Yep.
Then it's like, oh, I'm a wild and crazy guy. But
it's they're gonna act. Now they're not. Now
it's not real. So he has to do it like that, but somehow implicit in that. And it's great to have that experience then from your dad. Not very well versed in seeing shows, crazy comedy or otherwise. And to come up and just have that feeling, like we feel like it's a real. He has a son who loves this stuff, but he might not understand how or why you do. But it's just one of those things that kids do. And it's great because now he's not on drugs or whatever. Seeing
a guy do drugs keeps you off the street.
You go, we don't want to be like this guy. It's clear. That's already clear. But anyway, so I love that thing.
It's
happened, and that you describe it beautifully in your book.
Thanks.
And it's it just made me sort of think of like that, because then you go, what is it that you need to do? You look at the way that you treat your audience members and how well that goes down and how positive they will feel that was afterwards. But you also like there's some of the stuff, the way that you yell at that guy. It's like you are actually yelling at him and sort of. But he's crying with laughter because he's on your team and he's on, and that thing is not easy to do. And I could say, oh well, you should always be nice with the people you take up. You should do this and you should do that. Wasn't fireworks outside here. Just thought it's Las Vegas, and the guy just got shot just outside your house yesterday. But it's fine because it was the police.
You're right.
Yeah, so it was safe.
Well, it was legal.
Yeah, it was legal. But anyway, So whenever we say, oh, you should treat the people like this, and then it's nice.
Right.
But then I look at you and I'm going, no, you're breaking a lot of those things, but in a way you aren't breaking it.
Yeah.
Because you are only pushing them, and I've said this before as well. I've said it sort of about Paul Dabeck, because he also has a sort of not when he necessarily is here, but when he does his magic shows, like making fun of the people and getting them up and doing jokes and taking the piss out of it. But I'm like, you're never allowed to be more of a dick than the love that they actually know that you have for them, or the respect that they know that you have for them.
Right.
And
they know it's legitimate, I hope.
Yeah, like I think so too.
It's so many things that made it into my act are the exact things that growing up around, like I said, I had a bunch of great people around me in the magic clubs and in the whatever, and I trained with Tyler, and like a genuine regular basis mentorship kind of thing. But the kind of circle of magic, like even my first time ever working the Magic Castle, I've never really talked about this publicly, but like it was horrible. They would kind of go, oh, well, you can't wear, the castle didn't say this, but another thing, you can't wear jeans. And the castle goes, well, if you throw confetti, then the unicycle kid after you is going to slip. And so you can't throw confetti. You can never do that. And you can't be messy. You have spoons on the stage at the end. You can't be messy. And you can't talk to people like this. And I was doing that, the beginnings of that act at the time. This is like, whatever they call it, Future Stars Week at the castle. And a guy who used to run the youth thing was like, it's not the Spoons Castle. And you can't do this and you can't do that. And it's like, if I look at it, I would say that 80% or 90% of those things that people told me, hard rule, you can never do this, are the things that have directly led to every single job that I've done in the past 10 years.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's like another version of me whenever I say, this is how you should do it.
Yeah.
There will always be examples of professionals who've made a life and a career, supported their family and bought a house, and made a career amongst their peers from doing exactly those things.
For sure.
No, I love it. It's so great. Okay, so then now we've cycled a long round around that thing. So now this episode sort of ended up being about choosing audience volunteers and everything. So like
sorry.
No, it's a really good thing. And what was I was then talking about, I asked a question which I can't remember the exact thing now, but about how you ended up deciding that it was an older man that
Sure. I think some of it came from this is interesting because this is a recent discovery, but I as a younger person, I've always connected better with adults. I don't know what the deal was, but like even in preschool and stuff, like I would rather just have an adult conversation than be talked to, or like I just, I didn't hang out with a lot of kids and I didn't whatever. But then in school and in military school and just in my general life, like I've always gotten along best with the kind of cantankerous old guy kind of person. So most of the people around me were that, I think. And so, like you have the hard kind of asshole military guy that's the teacher that puts on a real face about being, a proper gentleman and whatever. And that's the guy that I would rip on the hardest and had this good rapport with. And once you break through that barrier, once they know, like, I don't know how to describe it, but once they're like, oh, he's cool, yeah, he can fuck with me a little bit. And so I think finding those people in the audiences that I can break down that wall with that person. And I think there's something to the best versions of that show, and the best versions of me doing that are when you see a shift in that person, where they come up and they're kind of a dickhead, and I go, oh, you cross your arms with the arm with your watch on the outside, and you do this, and I don't uncross your legs, and I do all this stuff, and I just give them shit until they break. And when they're laughing, and when they shifted from being that kind of like that, when you can see that transformation, not to like put a big word on it.
No, but it is. Like they're coming up and they got closed body language, and at some point they open up, and now they're actually having a good time.
Yep.
They've forgotten a little bit that they've been picked up and they're sitting in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Because the actual truth, like how truthful you make that situation and how everything that they do and you do together is part of the show. So now they go, oh, it isn't actually very intimidating, because all I have to do is to just react to what's going on here. It's a real thing. I don't just get led by the numbers through and made fun of, and now comes this joke. They really have a feeling like you have a shared in the moment experience and a real back and forth. Regardless of what he says, you will say something back and everything will be okay.
Yeah, and there are days where like the guy, if I'm getting if I really haven't gotten through to them for some reason, like maybe it's me, maybe it's they fucking really don't want to be up on stage, which is a common thing, or they act like they don't want to be up on stage. I think that's another really common kind of person, is you get the guy that's like, I'm not going to wave the wand over the box because I am not that guy. I'm a cool guy. And so I make fun, I feel like breaking down that barrier. Once I get the guy up, it's, if I can tell he's immediately kind of going to be that way, or he's pushing back on anything, or he won't hold my arm coming up the stairs, that's a big one. I love doing that. So if he's like, I'm not, he's pulling his arm away, or I'm doing anything, if there's any kind of pushback to the initial interaction with the guy, it's an immediate like, hey everybody, fun train's coming, big round of applause for Mark, like all these like, oh, then you wore your cool shirt, where there was a guy in Tennessee this last week where he had like an embroidered parrot on his breast pocket, and it looked like, and I just stopped the whole show, and I got the IMAG camera guy to come in really close, and I go, you see how it looks like there's a bird in your pocket? It's clever. Like all these things where we really try to, it's like, what is the one little thing that's going to get through this fucking guy to just let him know that we're, and there's also a lot of things, I mean, you I don't know if you must not have probably, but I have a lot of moments built in where I can swap the guy out. Oh, yeah. So if there's people that have seen me enough, there's 100%, there's 2 or 3 moments where it's not super weird to swap the guy out. It breaks up the pacing a little bit, but I've got a version of it where I can get out of it and get the guy.
That's also great, yeah. Because that's it. That's what we just talked about before. Yeah. Sometimes you pick someone and they look perfect and they come up and they just don't want to play or whatever.
Yeah. Can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, that's right. That's really interesting. All right. Well, that's great. Maybe we should, I had my ideas and I told you what those ideas were about what we were going to talk about.
Totally.
And we went somewhere completely different. So I guess I got to have another one.
Do it again, I guess.
Got to do it again.
I'm sorry. That's my Cinderella leaving the shoe at the party, trying to get back in this circle.
That's awesome. Thanks, bro.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Listening back to that conversation, I certainly miss hanging out with Nick. But for those of you who enjoyed this, I have 2 more conversations in the can already with Nick, and the topic that I had wanted to talk about in the first episode was secrets. So we did one more session talking about secrets, but didn't get around to talk about secrets in the way that we had first thought. So we did one more talk. So there's 2 more talks on secrets coming up, which of course magicians have a peculiar and interesting relationship with secrets, with sharing secrets and all kinds of things. So a lot of good stuff to come, as well as of course we're going to continue on with the exploration of showmanship and play. And anyway, if you do find value in the way of the showman, please consider subscribing to the podcast. It's free, but it really helps me and helps the algorithm find me if the episodes get automatically downloaded and I have subscribers. So please consider clicking subscribe and follow to the podcast, and possibly also on Instagram. Anyway, until next time, take care of yourself and those you love, and I hope to see you along the way.